Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, like tonight's film, 1970s Each and Groupie. I Am a Groupie. I Am a Groupie. This is put out as part of the new Ingrid Steger collection, Ascot Elite, region-free German Blu-ray, and an Erwin C. Dietrich film. I believe he's using a pseudonym in this particular film for directing. Um, and this is one of the films where I believe he's using a pseudonym as a director. But this is Each and Groupie. I Am a Groupie. Alternate title is Higher and Higher from 1970. And the lead here is Ingrid Steger, that you can see on the front right there. And this is the back of the German region free Blu-ray. Here it is, folks, 1970s Each and Groupie, I Am a Groupie, otherwise known as Higher and Higher. Ingrid Steger did a group of films with Erwin C. Dietrich, and this is one of them, and heavily steeped in the late 60s, 70s music culture of the world right in here. This is a film, it is a day in the life type of film over the span of a few days that almost seems timeless at times. And this young girl who follows a band, and in trying to follow that band, the adventures and the girls that she meets and the guys that she meets and the clubs and the settings and the trains and the drugs and the mountains and the motorcycles and the lakes, the adventures of this girl, and the kind of the adventure of her mind and her soul and her life as the movie goes on, and as she changes and transforms through the movie. And this movie involves heavy doses of music, drugs, and sex, and that world, that hippie rock and roll world, the youth of today world. So this is I Am a Groupie, a true groupie story, foreign, late 60s, early 70s, and one that brings a transformation and brings a journey and adventure, a day in the life of. So let's get into this movie. It says in the back here that the music was done by Walter Baumgartner, who's done lots of music for Erwin C. Dietrich and Jess Franco's films. And he does, so I'm guessing he does some score in this film. There is some kind of psychedelic, exotic elements that almost sound like sitar at times. But this movie is chock full of amazing late 60s, early 70s psychedelic beat rock, drug rock, stoner rock, the original of this psychedelic, at times almost sounding like the original Black Sabbath, mixed with some Zeppelin, mixed with some late 60s rock. We got tons of bands. One of the bands that's in here is a band called Birth Control, which is actually listed on the back of the Blu-ray. And they're actually name dropped in the film, and they act in the film as well. I don't know if they were a local band, a local Swiss band, or and I see some imagery of the Swiss Alps in this film. So in terms of the locations, we are in Berlin, and we are in Switzerland, and so we're taking some trips around some areas here. I don't know if we were in London at one point, or just some characters were from London. So we're definitely traveling a bit, at least story-wise. And this movie is music. You're seeing a group of different bands in different locations, in different clubs, in different parties. outside and inside the band's sleeping quarters for the night, the parties that they have there, chock full of music. Music is the energy and the heartbeat of this film. It is surging and loud and in your face and edited in to the rhythm of the film. The crowds listening to the music are pulsating and moving in an authentic manner, almost looking at the camera at times. People in the streets, people in the clubs, as if maybe this was shot documentary style, maybe this was shot guerrilla style by Erwin C. Dietrich, and actually getting real club settings, not setups for the movie, possibly. That's what it felt like. It felt authentic, it felt real. Just great psychedelic, late 60s, early 70s beat rock and roll. It felt like this was the turning of a generation. This was the time. This was the time for music. We even have some scat and jazz in this movie as well. Live performances throughout the whole film. Outside and inside, all different settings, just tons and tons of psychedelic music as the heartbeat of this film. The cinematography and the style for this film, we have Erwin C. Dietrich's rapid style editing at times, which is just so amazing to me, how it flips like from person to person, person to person, person to person, like rapid fire machine gun style. And we have just this amazing shot in a train of two girls talking, and the one girl, you're only seeing her talk through her reflection behind the other girl. Just a great shot there. We have amazing, beautiful shots of the locations of the city streets, to the clubs, to the what seemed to be the Swiss Alps, where that other film I reviewed from Erwin C. Dietrich, Six Swedes in the Alps, ALM, that could be the same locations possibly, but we have real strong city sequences in here. Some red lighting, and we have some extremely interesting psychedelic editing at times in this film for purposes as part of the storyline. Some hallucinogenic, psychedelic, and very trippy, and the editing is rapid fire and indicative of the mind, and indicative of the flow and the energy level of the music and of the heartbeat of the film and of the characters in the film. There is some violence in this movie, and I don't want to give anything away. There's actually some pretty bloody violence in a portion of this film that is quite a sucker punch and quite dreary. There is a darkness to this film that comes out of nowhere as well. It's a possible mental satanic darkness, an evil darkness, a darkness of the mind, of the soul, possibly a darkness of also addiction, or the darkness of loss and vulnerability, and longing for a person or love, and the journey, and being lost. And some explicit drug use in the film, from hashish to marijuana to what appears to be heroin, as well, and acid. So we have some drug use in here. Now, if music is the heartbeat of the film, sexuality is as well. Ingrid Steger is, we have full nudity in the film from the women. Don't see a little bit of penis in the film. We have sex scenes, heterosexual mostly, and lesbian scene that's drug influenced. All of them could be drug influenced, actually. Drugs first, then sex. And some pretty, steamy scenes. It seems implied, but it looks like it could be real. It's just the camera's not picking it up, that kind of thing. Not explicit, but a very sexual film. People are naked, outside and running around and in circles and drinking and eating and swimming, and naked motorcycle bike riding. We even have supposedly the Switzerland Hells Angels in this film. Naked motorcycle riding almost reminded me a little bit of the film Vanishing Point, but this was definitely the epitome of naked motorcycle riding. Ingrid Steger just is doing a fantastic job in this film. I also love her main girlfriend in the film, her friend, her fellow traveler. There's such great camaraderie and interesting dynamics as they're trying to take a train ride and smuggle drugs and meeting people and the tension on the train, that almost reminded me of what Eli Roth was, doing in some of his films like Hostel 2 and stuff like that, and some of the European, night train murders, I think, or so, and there's just the amazing dynamics and silence at times, because we have stretches with no dialogue in the film as well, just music and and drugs and sex and partying and amazing dancing in the film, and just the dynamics I became, you become obsessed with, between the two girls. The acting I thought was incredible. Ingrid Steger was amazing, who's on the cover of this Blu-ray, and also her girlfriend, her main girlfriend in the film. I don't know her name yet, and her girlfriend was sexually attractive. Ingrid Steger, I guess really known for her breasts as well, physically speaking. Kind of, just her breasts, and her friend had, her body, and lots of bands and lots of groupie sex, and the story of the groupie, and the story of getting money, getting a place to stay, getting to the next location, not being lost in this humongous world of hippies hanging out, and some danger at some turns, and a hippie giving you their dog. Do you want my dog? Just like that. Do you want my dog? Hell yeah, I'll take it. Thanks, man. Sharing. And it's a real wild, and music based, and this is an example of the style is the substance, the music is the substance, the sexuality is the substance, the drugs is the substance, a day in the life, a journey, an adventure. This is Each and Groupie, I Am a Groupie by Erwin C. Dietrich and Ingrid Steger collection here. Region free Blu-ray. Got this from diabolicdvd.com, the only place that seems to have the best price. And this is it, folks, right here, 1970s, Each and Groupie, also known as Higher and Higher. Great dynamics, great relationships and characters, and some darkness, and this is, there's even some torture, and there's some weird, possible satanic penis candles. Thank you so much for watching Penis Candles. Thank you so much for watching the Ted Rue Bizarre YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, like Each and Groupie, 1970. Please feel free to check out all my other films on this YouTube page, and my own personal films at youtube.com/poopydiarrhea. Thank you, and good night.